Gary Johnson then, pre-Welling at home. Gary, you're going into this game top of the league again. How do you make sure you stay there?
There's only one way to stay there, that's win the game, of course. Pick up your 3 points, and then no one can overtake you. But that's, the game's not won and lost in here. It's won and lost out there, and we've got to make sure that we're up for it, because what we can't do in this league is there's no teams that are walkovers, none. And even though Welling are on a poor run of form, they'll, at some stage they'll get a result somewhere, and so we have to be sure and make sure that it's not us, because every team's got a win in them. We've just got to make sure that we come out winners by being professional, bold, and very competitive, because they will be. Because still, there's a lot of teams in this league that have still got something to play for. Still 15 games to go. There's, what's that? 30 something, 45 points. And when there's 45 points to play for, everybody still feels they're in it. So we've got to still get a nut down and work hard and make sure we go out to win the game properly.
And I suppose the start's crucial, because if you're up against a team who's low on confidence, go 1 or 2 up early on, the game's practically over.
Well, you'd like to think so, and we was only just off the bus when we scored at Barrow, and that was good. Although that then took us another 80 odd minutes to get the next one. Although we did have a lot of chances, and that's the key. You can create chances, but you've just got to tuck them ones away when they're most important. Right, the first one's important, but that, as you say quite rightly, the second one is always really important, to just break their spirit a little bit. And then when it comes down to the last 5 minutes, of course, if there's 2 goals in it, it's very hard for a team to throw caution to the wind and have that spirit to do that. Whereas if it's only 1, they always feel they're in with a chance, and they start taking chances and they start bombing forward. They get their set plays, etc., etc. So it's more comfortable if you tune it up with 5 minutes to play.
You've got back-to-back home games against teams in the bottom 4. How much do you see this as an opportunity to really put some pressure on the teams below in the chasing pack if you can get the 2 wins?
Well, again, it's exactly the same. I mean, half our squad went and watched Kidderminster on Tuesday. All my staff went there. So we're certainly not taking the game lightly. And we were right not to, because they had a good result against Eastleigh and played quite well, actually. They're passing it around a little bit, and certainly don't look like a side that's bottom of the table at the minute. In fact, are they still bottom?
They're off.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit of confidence that would give them. So both the teams we're coming up to, at least I feel that we don't feel that we just got to turn up. So really, I just want to reiterate that, because I don't want the other 2 teams thinking, they think they've done it already, and that gives them a little bit more power to their elbow. We're going to make sure that we do everything in our power to turn up and be professional about it.
How's Harry Pell reacted? Has he reacted in the right way to not walking straight back into the starting 11 at Barrow?
Very much so. I mean, how could you do anything else? He's part of a group of lads that feel they're all in it together. They all know that sometimes you can be unlucky with an injury or a suspension, and then the team has a little bit of run of form. But we got some games coming up that are Saturday. So I'm pretty sure that everybody will get their opportunity, because I don't want lads losing match fitness. So Harry come on for the second half anyway at Barrow. So Billy came on 20 minutes, and so I've got to try and get Munsey involved. These are 16 first team players that I've got to get involved in the next 2 games, and they all will be involved.
Because people like James Rowe have had to wait for their chance this season, now beginning to take it.
Yeah, exactly. And Asa, of course. And whenever there's an injury or a change of position, poor old Asa, because he's not a master of none, a jack of all trades, master of none. He is a master of that sort of midfield role, if you like. But he's the one that we know that can do the job. Certainly, he's got the height to go in the defence when teams are bombing balls forward at us late on. So no, but he's done very well as Rory. And then of course you've had the new lads come in, Burgess, Jordan, and Danny Holman, and they've come into the family very quickly, and I'm really pleased with that. So because how quickly they've adjusted, that's given us 3 more, and Amari coming back will give me another one. You know, so outside of the decision maker, me, because that makes it difficult because you don't want to let people down that have never let you down. Everyone else can see that's a good position to be in.
You mentioned Amari there. How far away is he?
He's about 20 yards. No, so.
I'll
we got to brighten up a little bit.
It's taken 4 minutes today.
It got a bit serious. I would say, I mean, I know my brother keeps ringing me up. How far is Amari? He said, because every time I ask you, it's 3 weeks. Well, it still is 3 weeks, and but every day he's definitely getting stronger, definitely getting more comfortable in his walking and his jogging and his running. He's on this, what they call it, anti-gravity running machine. You know, I don't know what that is, but I do, but it's hard to explain. But anyway, he's doing very well on that.
Yeah, it just allows the muscles to get fit, doesn't it, without putting the strain on the joints or something like that.
Don't make out you've been on one.
I've seen someone else on one.
Oh, right, okay, then that's fair enough.
How's Jack Bartram after that knock to the head? Because there was talk of concussion after Saturday.
He's okay. He's okay. It's just a bit of a precaution when somebody gets a whack on the head, and everybody has to make sure that they haven't lost any consciousness at all. And he didn't. He nearly did when he made me wait an hour outside the hospital for him. I nearly made him lose consciousness then. That was a bit annoying, but anyway, we was all there, and while we were having our pizzas and etc., we waited for him at the hospital, and so it was an hour later than normally we would have got away, but of course we would do that.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of football's approach to head injuries, obviously it's a massively sort of key point in rugby. Football, it's not quite sort of as stringent. How aware are you of having to sort of do the right thing by the player and the sport?
Yeah, very aware. And your physio and your doctors and your medical team would not allow anybody to play under any question mark. That's for sure, because somebody's health is a lot more important than anything else. So, of course, lads always want to play. And they always want to say they're all right, but obviously we need to get the experts, and we've had the experts over the last few days. We'll get them over the next few days, and they'll give us the definitive decision of whether he can play or not.
Everyone else all right?
Yeah, everybody else is okay, which is good. Good in one way, because you want them all fit, but it does make your selection a little bit more difficult. But as I say, I always talk to the players anyway, and they always understand after I've had a little chat with them. They won't be happy because they all want to play. These lads want to play. That's the beauty of this group. I did have a group not so long ago that didn't care whether they played or not, and would prefer to go shopping with their wives on a Saturday afternoon and play a football match. But that's another thing. Not all of them, just some of them. But here, we haven't got any. And they're all desperate to play, and they feel a little bit cheated, I think, when they don't play at the end of a hard week.
Thank you, good luck.
No problem.
How much do you have to then sort of balance the continuity of the side with the want to give everybody a game, and maybe picking a certain team to suit a certain match?
Well, you have to look at it, we've got 15 games to go, and touch wood, we don't get an injury, but the chances are you will get somebody with a little problem that has to sit out for a game or two. And so you just have to say, look, make sure that you're ready when your selection comes. Because if you spit your dummy out, throw Teddy in the corner and mope around the place, I'm not going to pick you anyway. In that, if I see that, then they don't play. So I need to see every day those people that are out of of the fray, of the first team 11. I need to see them putting in a real stint and giving me a problem, giving me and then giving me that opportunity to play them when it becomes available again. So don't mope. They got a smile about the place and look like they're enjoying it. But I've got no problems with this group of lads.
Yeah, would you ever sort of consider picking a team for a certain game rather than looking at continuity?
Yeah, I would, and you can do that sometimes, and sometimes because you've got 16 first team players, you've got to make sure that you keep them all match fit. You know, if they haven't played for 3 or 4 weeks, and then suddenly you need them because someone's injured, they may not be as sharp as they should be match wise. So you've got to make sure they all have game time, and I'll do that.
Bizarre, isn't it, that you're mid-February and this is the first time we're playing Welling?
Yeah.
I suppose it completes the 23 games against the rest of the division.
Yeah, it does. I suppose.
It's very odd, given that you're playing Lincoln first and last day of the season. And you've got 2 games against Welling.
Listen, I don't know how computers think. I'm not very much up to date. So when they spit out all the fixtures, God knows how that happens. I mean, you couldn't begin to fathom, what happens in that computer. But every season it happens, and every season we all play each other twice. So it's just catching teams sometimes on a poor run. Sometimes you get teams. I mean, our early part of the season, everybody we played was doing well. When we played Chester early on, we played Lincoln, Bromley, Dover here, Braintree. They're all Woking. They're all first, second, or third. And now the league's obviously spreading out a little bit, and it's settling down, and you've probably got 4 or 5 teams that are now competing for automatic. There's a lot of teams competing for playoff places that still feel they got a chance, and there's of course still 7 or 8 teams that are worried about getting relegated. So still very competitive at the moment.
Niall Robley's gone out to Cinderford this week. Decisions coming up for those young lads on second-year scholarships. How sort of easy is it for you, or are you able to start making decisions about next year, not just for those lads, but some of the senior lads as well?
You can make decisions about those lads because those lads are about potential. So whether you're still in this league or up in the Football League, that probably is not the question as far as the young lads are concerned, because either way they've still got to learn, they've got to grow into men. And I always say some boys go away and some are well, and they come back after the summer and all of a sudden they're men, and you think, Christ, where's he been, what's he done, been on that machine that you was on. And they do, and sometimes you make a decision on that when they've come back, but these lads will need to know a little bit early, and we've got to make that judgment of whether potentially they're going to help Cheltenham Town progress.
And with the senior lads, I suppose it's a decision you can't make until you know where you're going to be next season.
No, I think it's fair to say that, and Bristol Rovers have proved this, and I've proved it a few times with clubs. You try and select a group of people that you think is the next level on, anyway, and that's how you win this level, by getting players that are the next level, and then they generally can compete at that next level. And I don't think there's one in my side or my group at the moment, there's 16 or 17, that wouldn't embrace and play and do well in the second division. So as long as we can keep them happy at the moment, as long as I can say, look, I'd love to take you forward as a group, 1 or 2 changes like there always is, sort of thing, but as a group, and I think they all feel and trust that I would take them with us to the next level. And not one person has spoke to me about a contract or about this, that. They know what the brief was at the start of the season. Everyone barring 1 or 2 have got this 2-year deal for different reasons, but everyone's got that ambition to move on together. I think they've now become not just football mates, but proper mates. If we get promoted, this group will be having 10-year parties and 20-year parties, you know what I mean? Because they're so close as a group of friends. When they all go off to their different things in a few years' time, they'll all be coming back and having, parties for the success that they've had together.
Is that a new situation for you, with being in a February with most of your squad out of contract and nobody coming up to you yet?
No, because I had it at Yeovil when we was in the conference at Yeovil, because it's very hard to talk about contracts when you don't know what division you're going to be in. It's very hard to know what the board are going to put out for budgets for the second division. So there's a trust there. They know that I like them, and they know that I'm happy to work with them for longer than just this season. And so hopefully that'll help them settle down, knowing that the manager's going to try and look after them.
Excellent.